The second example is shown 2x squared over x squared minus 1. Now we need to take the domain. So we set x squared minus 1 equal to 0. We get negative 1 and 1. But just because it's not the square root on the denominator, we need the area between negative 1 and 1. So our domain would be negative infinity, negative 1, negative 1 to 1, 1 to infinity. Now for the intercepts, we have 0 and 0. If we put the x value is 0, we get 0. If we put the y values, we get 0 as well. Now we need to do the symmetric test. So whenever negative value we put for our function, we get the same function. That means we have an even function that is symmetric about the y-axis. Now we go to asymptotes. As you can see, for the vertical asymptotes, we put the denominator equal to 0, so we get negative 1 and 1. So we have a vertical asymptote at negative 1 and 1. For the horizontal asymptote, we can use the easy way. We know that the highest power on the numerator and the denominator is x squared, so we only take the coefficients, which is 2 over 1 or 2. Now for the intervals of increasing and decreasing. Here's we have our function g of x. Now we need to take the derivative. We use the quotient rule first and we set up our derivative like this. And we use the power rule to finish up our derivative, and here's we have our final derivative form. We set that equal to 0, we get some critical point which is 0, negative 1 and 1. Now we need the intervals, so we use a sign chart. When we use a sign chart, so here's what as we can see, we have positive, positive, negative, negative. As you can see, we have a maximum. It goes from increasing to decreasing, so we have a maximum at 0 and 0. So for the intervals, for the increasing, we have negative infinity to negative 1, negative 1 to 0. So our left side of graph would be increasing, and for decreasing, we have 0 and 1, 1 to infinity, which is the right side of our graph. Now it's time for concavity. So concavity is basically the second derivative. So we take the derivative of the function shown above. So we use the product rule first. Here's the setup, as you can see. Next would be the power rule, and we do the power rule, and then the final format would be 4 times 1 plus 3x squared over negative 1x squared cube. And if we set this equal to 0, we get negative 1 and 1. But just because we don't have negative 1 and 1 into our domain, so we don't have any inflection points. And then, but the information that we have, we can do the sketch like this. As you can see, a maximum at 0 and 0. We have concave up, negative infinity to negative 1, 1 to infinity. We have a maximum at 0 and 0. And that's it.